Alright, so Caesaris De Bello Gallico, Book 1, Chapter 1, lines 12 through 14, and we'll go ahead and get started. So initially we have this ablative relative pronoun, and right after this preposition we can see yet another ablative in the same case. If you've read any Virgil or done any sort of translation with that, he does that quite frequently, where he puts the preposition after an adjective that describes the object of the preposition, and also especially in this relative statement you're going to have the relative pronoun before the preposition. So we'll go ahead and mark this as a prepositional phrase, and then we'll look for the main verb, and that's just going to be at the end of the little clause right here. And look at some of the other nouns that are in here. Have this long I on the Helvetians, and that's going to be our subject. And then we have these two, which agree, this adjective, and we have this masculine plural ending on both of those. And then we have this third declension ablative right there at that short E. And so we'll go ahead and translate this. And so this day is on or about or concerning, and I kind of like to look at this, we'll just talk about this for a minute. This is kind of like reason maybe, or subject, matter, occasion, cause. We get cause from it most directly, so that can be a translation. And we have this relative pronoun, and because of the punctuation that we put into this Caesar, the relative pronoun doesn't have an antecedent, so we're just going to translate it as a demonstrative, so we'll just say that. So, and I like to think of this as kind of like, well, for that matter, or on that point, or something like that. So I'm just going to put on that subject, and then we're going to have the Helvetians, and then we have this NT, plural, surpass the remaining Gauls in strength, which is going to be that virtute. And we can't forget this quoque is also, and if you are wondering why we have that quoque there, it's because one of the first things we said about Gaul was that the Belgians were the strongest out of all the Gauls, and so this sentence is really going to be kind of alluding back to that previous thought, because the Helvetians are also, like the Belgians, surpassing the other Gauls. And this is really, though we do have this reliquos, which is going to be definitely remaining, it's really talking about the other Gauls, or the other people that are in Gaul, and they're also kind of above the rest of them in terms of their strength. And let's continue on. So we have this quote. That could be a neuter subject. Nope, because this main verb is definitely an NT, plural, third person ending, and there's no real direct object here. That's plural, does not match all the Gauls. It's just this singular neuter thing, so we're going to make sure we realize that that is not a pronoun, or not a pronoun. It's going to be a because. So because they, you can see no really subject in here, they contend, we're just going to put the derivative of that right in there. They contend with the Germanics, as that ablative of accompaniment with cum right there, with the Germanics we have this other little bit of ablatives, these two ablatives, and we have this adverb right here, and this is going to be describing that adjective, and this adjective is really describing that noun, and these in battles. And then we have this quotidianus, which is daily, and this fere is going to be almost or nearly. So in battles, almost daily, and almost daily battles, however you want to phrase that. The battles are happening almost every day, just like as we described some of the previous people, the Germans and the Belgians, contending in battles almost daily. And then we have a bit of this beginning of this other clause, this final clause for today down here, and we're just going to put it all down in this next line right here. Now, immediately we see this out and this out. This is going to be kind of an either-or kind of statement, and they're both going to have main verbs, so there's going to be two main verbs in this last clause for today. And have gerent and prohibent. And so this cum, not really near an ablative of anything, it's over here, but that's skipping over this conjunction there, so it's going to be a cum that is going to be a conjunction, it's going to be a when. So, and then these are going to be indicatives, so it's not going to be a subjunctive cum clause, it's just going to be an indicative cum clause. So when they, and we're just going to really continue the same subject, this nt ending, and no really other new subjects. You do have this intensive pronoun, but we'll get to that. It's not going to be a new subject. When either, using that out, they prevent, and then this them is going to refer to the Germans, preventing the Germans, prevent them from, it's going to be kind of an ablative of place whence. It's going to be finibus, and that's limits or boundaries, their own boundaries from their own boundaries, or we're continuing on with this out, or, and this intensive pronoun is just going to be describing the further these adding to these Helvetians even more, or they themselves, either they prevent them from their own boundaries, or they themselves. And so this is kind of a, we don't really have this kind of little putting that intensive in that way in English, but have it here, and it's, you're gonna have to work they themselves. NT ending right here, they wage war. And we have this N with this ablative. N does not go with this genitive. The genitive is just going to really describe that finibus, wage war against their borders. Now we're really playing the pronoun game a lot here. When either they prevent them from their own boundaries, or they themselves wage war against their borders. And so these subjects are really going to be the same. They're both talking about the Helvetians, and this Aorum is going to be talking about the Germans, against the Germans' borders. So, pretty short section, and I hope it helped.